Yeah, okay. Just again with the singularity business, I agree with you, 100%. It's not necessary, even when you take into account the expansion of the universe and just replay it backwards. Well, of course you get to a singularity. What's to say when the universe is not, very, very small, some other process, negates the need for a singularity. There's lots of other ways you can argue that point that the singularity isn't needed. And again, it's riddled with so many problems and causes so many more problems that I'm astounded that the idea hadn't been left by the gutter quite a while ago. Just continue watching. Right, you just sort of finished your video saying that you're trying to clear up the traversing an infinite problem, and well, I hope now that we've at least got our infinities straight, as to avoid that same problem as before, where I used the example of a potential infinity when you were ascribing as your example of in premise 2 of the Kalam argument, what you were describing, what you were meant to be describing was an actual infinite which can't exist, which is true. But your example of the universe being, or the series of events before the present having to be an actual infinite of things, is not valid at all, because from the definition of an actual infinite, the actual infinite by definition can't be used to describe real things. In fact, it's probably poorly named in that sense, being an actual infinite, which implies something physical. I think I read on Wikipedia in I think the potential infinity section sort of described it pretty well. It said the word actual would probably be better off changed to definite infinity. That is one which is defined, as in the members of the set, which are infinite, share some common property, and so they're defined, and so we call this a definite infinite. Anyway, just to explain to you why I think a good reason to think of time like as a potential infinite in the universe is that, well, think about the present moment and the time just before now, and the time 10 seconds before that, and 10 seconds before that, and 10 seconds before that. I mean, this continually adding on of 10 seconds, or this continual addition, this continual procedure of adding on a little bit of time, a little chunk of time, previous to now, sounds a lot like a potential infinite in the same way you described it as well. So, of course, potential infinites can exist, and so there's no problem with that. We can just continue to look just that 5-10 minutes earlier than a billion trillion years ago. We can just look another 5 minutes. There's nothing to stop us looking that extra 5 minutes back, in the exact same way as that there's nothing to stop us saying, okay, well, I'm here now, in 10 minutes will be 10 minutes from now, 10 minutes from then will be 20 minutes from now, and what about 10 minutes after that, 10 minutes after that, 10 minutes after that. Again, it's the exact same potential infinite you encounter whether going forwards or backwards in time. And they're both potential infinites which have, as just every movement demonstrates, is entirely possible. An interesting way to think of trying to put an actual infinite in that circumstance is the points from here, or the points before now, are infinite. The times before now are as a potential infinite. So just by labeling them the time before now, we can call that a set, and that set itself would be an actual infinite, as would the time after now. So the past is an actual infinite, which, yes, actually exists, and mathematically as a set, and the future is an actual infinite. Yeah, the present's an altogether different, very different and interesting thing to talk about, but suppose we'll save that for another day, I guess. But the main point is, there's saying that you have to traverse just saying traversing an actual infinite is a ridiculous thing to say anyway, because it's a set, really. So, as long as we've got our definitions of infinity, if you agree with the definitions of the actual infinity, well, you did, because you just told them, you said them just as they are. So by those definitions, there's no need to traverse. Well, again, you can't traverse an actual infinity. Well, there is no actual infinity in the time before now. So your argument for the second premise of the Kalam argument still, in my mind, is just as flawed as the thermodynamic one I mentioned just before. Anyway, well, you said you might not make another video on this. Well, it would be nice if you did continue. But if you want to do other things, I'll be just as interested to watch those and add my little comments. Anyway, I'll look forward to your next few videos, and maybe I'll read a few of these mountainous comments that have piled up. I really don't enjoy reading comments that much, but we'll see what's hidden away in there. Anyway, I'll end it there, and I'm sure I've been quite confusing and not very clear in most of what I've said, so if anyone really wants a definition or a clearer explanation of anything, I'll try and make a rambling video to explain that. Right, okay, I'll see you all in the next video, maybe.